Hello everyone and welcome back to FantasyFootballFix.com, the leading platform to help you build your team value, giving you the best chance of improving your overall rank and at the same time helping you win those all-important mini-leagues and earning some bragging rights in the group chat. I'm your host FPL Phillips, or Eddie, and welcome back to another video in our daily price change series where we cover all the latest in price rises and price fallers in the FPL world as we move into the international break. As always, if you have any questions for some of our FPL presenters, leave them down below in the comments and I will try my best as always to get back to every single each of one of you who takes the time to leave one down below. But without further ado, let's get into it and have a look at what's been going on in the price change world of Fantasy Premier League. So as we're moving into the international break, we will be cutting back a little bit on these price change videos. So I'm going to cover a few of the potential rises and fallers over the next couple of days, not just tonight. That's all as well because Cancelo and Trossard are the only two risers, and Callum, FPL Nacho, as you'll know him, covered that very well yesterday. The Cancelo rising, the Trossard as well. Great comparison in that video if you want to go and check it out. But there's also a few noticeable fallers who might be changing tonight with Calvert-Lewin and Lukaku there. In terms of progress, we're looking at 106% now for Cancelo. Trossard has also passed the 100% threshold, only at 100.0 exactly though. He's rising at 0.1% per hour, so it should be a bit over that by the actual time when the price changes occur, but still not 100% certainty that Trossard will rise. As always, there's never 100% certainty with price changes. They're not an exact science. We're having to kind of work them backwards from FPL and predict when they're going to happen. Lukaku and Calvert-Lewin looking to drop. I'm not sure really anyone owns Calvert-Lewin by now that is doing an active team. Lukaku, some people may still be hanging on to him, having benched him the last 2 weeks. Not sure if it's worth hanging on to him, to be honest. 11.5, worth seeing maybe over the international break if he can make a return. Tuchel's not been giving away a lot with regards to when Werner and Lukaku are looking likely to be back, but 2 weeks over the international break is obviously a long time, and he can make some serious improvements towards fitness, running, etc. has been happening for Lukaku, so it's looking promising for him. But if we move into tomorrow and we look a bit further down the list, we can see Gaeta, Gallagher and Reece James are three of the players I've highlighted with the stars on the left-hand side. Gaeta, the Crystal Palace keeper, is looking to be a little bit of an option for people moving away from Robert Sanchez. Perhaps could contribute to some of those transfers there. Reece James, for obvious reasons, is rising. He's now standing at over 20% ownership and is rising at a hefty 0.5% per hour. But an even higher rate of 0.6% per hour is Conor Gallagher of Crystal Palace, who's now up to nearly 15% ownership and looking to rise in price tomorrow as things stand. So that will make it up for a few other players I do want to dive into and have a look at the statistics as well by using some of the other tools that the Fantasy Football Fix website has to offer. So let's get into it. And let's have a little look at comparisons between Conor Gallagher and Emile Smith-Rowe then. Two obviously very similar priced midfielders, both in the budget range, and both will be being considered by a lot of people at the moment. You may think that this week Gallagher seems the obvious option if you're looking to bring one in with Burnley as a fixture, as opposed to Smith-Rowe, who faces a Liverpool side who look very strong. But if we'll have a look at them using the player heat maps feature over at FantasyFootballFix.com, we compare them using the game week so far. I'm just going to compare using the entire season. That seems the most sensible thing to do, all the minutes they've played. We can see that Gallagher's been taking corners from both sides for Crystal Palace, whereas Smith-Rowe has been taking the in-swingers from the left-hand side for Arsenal, whilst they use a swing at the left foot of other players over on the right-hand side. That seems to be quite key to the system over at Arsenal with Arteta, is those in-swinging corners. They've not had too much success with them, but it might end up being the case where Smith-Rowe does get involved and get an assist from one of them. Gallagher is very in favour of that. He's involved in a lot of the set pieces over at Crystal Palace, which is very key for him. In terms of other heat maps, you can see that Conor Gallagher drifts out to the right much more than Smith-Rowe to the left. He's got a lot of his goals from around this kind of area outside the edge of the box, where he's been drifting in from that left-hand side, just with the goal at the weekend. Very similar and typical example. And we can also see a lot of different other maps. We can see the shot maps. We can compare the statistics as well at the same time. So we can see 23 shots for Conor Gallagher compared to 16 shots for Emile Smith-Rowe from very similar positions, but Gallagher's been having a few more, I'd say, outside the edge of the area, despite having more shots in total. I'd say a higher proportion of those are coming from outside the box. Smith-Rowe's been shooting from some very good positions, but he's been very, very clinical with them, and we can see that even more if we scroll down to the statistics section of the player heat maps feature. And average statistics per 90 are the ones I tend to like to look at, and we can see that Conor Gallagher is leading in every single department, and I would not have had that down. Goals, Smith-Rowe is nearly there in terms of 0.01 away. It's very, very close. goals per 90, but expected goals per 90, Conor Gallagher is double what Smith Rowe is totaling of 0.19 to 0.38 in favour of the Crystal Palace man. He's also leads in shots by quite a significant margin, but shots on target, Smith Rowe seems to be being a bit more clinical and working the keeper more than Gallagher is. Shots in the box, we can see that actually Conor Gallagher is leading the way for that, despite having more shots, obviously, so a high proportion, as mentioned, will be from outside the box for Gallagher. Goal assist as well was something where I was looking a bit to see, is Emil Smith Rowe's assist potential as high as it actually seems? Both these guys have been grabbing what you'd say an overperforming amount of goals for them respectively, but do they have the assist potential to match it and keep them a consistent option throughout the season, which will be important to us if we're looking to keep them long term? Very, very tight again for goal assists, 0.21 to 0.20 per 90 minutes. Expected assists, again, leads a different story, with Conor Gallagher almost doubling Smith Rowe's total this time, and is a bit closer, but again in favour of the Crystal Palace midfielder. Attempted assists also go in favour, as do big chances created by quite a significant margin, and also crosses for Conor Gallagher. So from this, you would have to deduce that if you're looking to bring in one of these two this week, Conor Gallagher could be your man. He faces a Burnley side that haven't looked very strong recently, while Smith Rowe you'd probably want to bench if you brought in this week for someone else with a stronger fixture. So I'd probably bring in Conor Gallagher over the international break, but I would stress not to rush and make transfers very early on. The international breaks are notorious for injuries, and I'm no doubt that there'll probably be at least one or two that might affect our teams and our transfers. So maybe don't rush into it, even if you have got a midfielder who you're looking to ship out, and these guys may be going up, 0.1 or 0.2 million in price. I'd say on the whole, it looks best just to hold off and actually wait for the information, and information can be much more valuable to you than team value over the course of the season. It can cost you points with transfers if you make them too early, and then you have to risk undoing them, and in the long run it will affect the amount of points you get in total. So let's remain calm, remain patient over the international break. It's very hard to do, it's very boring, but I think Conor Gallagher's looking like a prospective pick that could be a very nice move in for game week 12. With midfielders like perhaps Mason Mount, who you might be looking to remove if he's still injured or his surgery doesn't go well. There's also other midfielders in that bracket. Some people looking to ship out Rafinha as well in the long run, so maybe Conor Gallagher could be one to keep your eye on. He's been emerging as an option for a while now, and I really do think that he's proving himself to be a consistent and great FPL asset for this season. And now I want to take a bit of a look at, for our final part of the video, the battle of the budget defenders, and have a bit of a look at who could be the potential candidates if you're looking to downgrade to someone at the back in order to fund, perhaps, like a lot of people are at the moment, that Havertz move to Son, or try and upgrade somewhere else. Perhaps you're looking to find funds that eventually may end up being involved in a move from Vardy to someone like a Kane right now, or maybe you're looking to move to Ronaldo in the future, game week 14, game week 15, where Manchester United fixtures turn very, very nice. Could be a potential time for that to happen, and so we need to look at some budget defenders for that case. Also, there's some great premium defenders at the moment, Reece James, the likes of him included, Benjamin Chilwell, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo. These guys look fantastic, but if we're looking to bring in someone who's a little bit cheaper, can there still be some options that match up to them? Well, I want to have a bit of a comparison between four who look to be very popular and maybe one or two who don't seem to be as popular at the moment. Livramento and White being the two I mentioned prior, who are very popular defenders at the moment and are getting a lot of transfers in, and Livramento is actually the most expensive of these defenders right now due to all his price rises, starting at 4.0, is now at 4.5, and could eventually rise up to 4.6. He's at 99.2% progress, as you can see in the fixed comparison matrix. I've also added in Lamptey and Lowton as a few little differentials, and I wanted to have a look at the stats per game so far. As you can see, we got that box tick over on the left. As always, you can find links to this tool down in the description, a very, very useful one, where you can add all your own stats that you'd like to look at. And so we can see, first of all, I've added in crosses just to add a bit of creativity and some things like this. So Lamptey's averaging 3.3 per game so far, which is ahead of Lowton in second, and then White with 0 crosses. You wouldn't expect much of that from a defender. But Livramento with 2.6 per game. You've got a bigger sample size for Livramento and Lowton. Lamptey's only played a limited amount of minutes so far, so this is to be taken with a bit of a pinch of salt for him. Touches in the opposition box, he's also miles ahead, but Livramento arguing a very consistent total of 1.5 across the system so far, across the season. Attempted assists, it is actually Lowton who leads the way there with 1.0, but it's very close with Livramento and Lamptey just in behind, and White's not too far off himself, even as a centre-back. With shots, it's Lamptey again who leads that, same with shots on target, but Livramento coming in at 0.5, Lowton at 0.5 there, quite close behind with shots on target as well. Big chances created. Lamptey hasn't managed to create one yet, as proven by his limited minutes. But Lowton at 0.3 per game, not a very bad total at all. And we can see that that's all the statistics I've put in there, and it really does give us a good idea of kind of what areas defenders are looking the best at. You can have a look at the expected assists, the expected goals as well. It will be very interesting to see when Lamptey's had a few more games underneath him. Can he prove to have these stats consistently, and more importantly, can he, as someone who's quite injury prone, has picked up a couple of quite serious injuries over the last couple of years, can he stay fit for Brighton will be a very big part, because if he's playing, he's a fantastic option. Lively Lamptey, can he deliver them into FPL points? We're really going to hope so, but he can't do that at all if he's injured, so we need to make sure that hopefully Lamptey for FPL purposes can be staying fit so far this season. But I think Lowton's one who's flown very far under the radar. Burnley's fixtures aren't the best, so maybe not the time to move for him. Livramento arguably should be in every team right now. If you didn't hop on him before he was 4.5, he probably still is, if not the best option, one of the best options around that price point even. And also Ben White, providing a very easy way, and cheap way into that Arsenal defence that has improved massively. And with some decent fixtures coming up, scattered amongst some of the poorer ones, maybe White's one to look at if you're potentially going to rotate some defenders, and someone who could potentially sit on your bench quite a bit of the time as well. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you found it helpful in any way. If you have, feel free to leave it down below in the comments. It really does make my day when I see all those comments, or you can just leave a like on the video to show me that you did enjoy. That does mean the absolute world to me. If you want to see a bit more of my own FPL channel, you can go down into the link in the description at FPL Phillips, as are the links to our other fantastic presenters. You can also catch me on the FPL Penguin channel tomorrow night. A little bit of a plug there if you want to see that on Wednesday evening. Sorry guys, I had to do it. It's for the benefit of the people watching with the stream. I also want to just give a shout out to all the guys over at Fantasy Football Fix providing all these fantastic statistics, and go and check these links out down below in the description. Absolutely fantastic tools, especially to be using with all your analysis over the international break, where we've got a lot of time on our hands to have a look at some of the in-depth data. It's always good to get into, and a great habit to have a look at, and make FPL a bit more exciting for the casual player. So that is going to wrap it up for tonight. I hope you have enjoyed the video once more, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Stay safe. Goodbye.